It begins so quietly that most people never hear it at all. You're 7 years old, sitting on the edge of the couch with your knees pulled up, eyes locked on the face of the person who used to be your safest place. That face is cracking open in ways no child should ever witness. Maybe the cracks are from substances that refuse to let go. Maybe they're from storms that never quiet down. Maybe they're just the sound of a heart that's been carrying too much, too long, and has run out of places to hide it. In that moment, something ancient and wordless slips into your small mind, like a quiet switch flipping inside your chest. If I don't hold it all together, no one will. And that's how the child disappears. Not through any dramatic exit, but through a slow, careful, everyday disappearance from the inside out. The smile gets a little steadier. The tears get rarer. The ability to read every unspoken shift in the room becomes second nature. You learn to carry the emotional temperature of the house before you're even allowed to have a temperature of your own. And the world claps. Look how mature you are. Look how responsible. Look how strong. No one ever circles back to ask the simple, devastating question: at what price? This is the quiet grief of people who grew up too fast. And the effects don't fade when we turn adult. They follow us into every relationship, every deadline, every quiet moment when we wonder why we still feel like we're waiting for permission to stop performing. Let's go inside the mind of that child and see what was actually happening before the world ever started praising the performance. When a child is the only one who can keep everyone else steady, psychologists name it parentification. You become the caretaker, the mediator, the confidant, the shield, sometimes all at once. It's not a compliment. It's a neurological rewrite. Your brain is wired, again and again, to scan for danger, to control the temperature, to make sure no one notices how small you still feel. You learn that love is a transaction. Give peace, maybe you'll get safety. Your needs suddenly look dangerous. Theirs suddenly look urgent. So you learn to vanish, emotionally, not physically. In your place grows someone who is very, very good at being needed. The quiet achiever, the reliable friend, the one who never asks for anything. You wear that costume so well that even you start to forget it's a costume. But the costume never fits quite right. Something underneath it is still screaming in silence. Why didn't anyone ever protect me? You might become hyper-independent, the kind of person who pushes help away before it can even reach you, because help has always felt like another burden to carry. You might stay numb during good days, because joy now feels like something borrowed that might vanish tomorrow. You might sleep only when you've earned it, because rest has always felt like laziness or guilt. And worst of all, you might not even know you're still living in survival mode, because chaos used to be your baseline, and stillness now feels like a threat. Children don't choose this role. They don't sit down and calculate, if I stay quiet, they'll stay. It's not weakness. It's the most brilliant survival strategy a brain can invent when safety has been taken away. The child doesn't abandon themselves out of laziness. They abandon themselves out of love, for the only attachment they knew. And that's the cruelest part. The very thing that kept you alive now keeps you imprisoned. We walk around as adults with our inner child dragging the leash. We overwork to prove we're worth keeping. We stay silent so we won't be left. We fix everyone else while secretly wishing someone would notice we're exhausted. We fantasize that maybe, just maybe, someone will finally see the cracks and still choose to stay. But let's go deeper. Let's look at the adult world we built on top of that childhood. You might become a therapist in all your friendships, the one everyone unloads on, the one who listens for hours, the one who never lets anyone truly see the cracks in their own armor. You might be praised for your independence when deep down you're terrified of being a burden, terrified that if you ever let someone carry even a fraction of your load, they'll disappear like everyone else did. You might be in relationships where you overfunction, always fixing, always managing, always over-explaining, while wondering why resentment quietly festers underneath. You might struggle with boundaries because saying no still feels like betrayal, like you're abandoning the very person you learned to protect. These are not personality traits. They are coping strategies, learned, conditioned, and yes, unlearnable. The first real step toward healing isn't fixing, or performing, or pretending it didn't happen. It's witnessing. You stop the endless inner argument. It wasn't that bad. Everyone else had it worse. I turned out fine. And you finally sit with the truth. It was that bad. And you were only a child. When that inner child grows up, they become the adult who feels unsafe even in calm rooms. They become the lover who flinches at softness. They become the person who apologizes for crying, flinches at praise, and confuses exhaustion with success. They become the giver who can't receive because receiving feels like another debt to repay. This is the cost of growing up too fast. You learn to be strong at the expense of being soft, to be quiet instead of honest, to fix others while your own fractures stayed hidden. Shadow work is not about becoming someone new. It's about going back and taking the hand of the child who never got to be a child. You say the words no one else ever said. You didn't deserve that. You were just a child. You get to rest now. It's brutal. It asks you to feel the grief, the rage, the birthdays where no one showed up, the laughter you were never allowed to steal, the nights you had to be the parent while you were still the child. But that grief is proof you're healing. The frozen part is finally melting. Here's the quiet turning point that changes everything. You start asking your younger self the question no adult ever asked. What did you need back then that no one ever gave you? You begin to give it to yourself. Permission to play without guilt, permission to rest without shame, permission to say no without guilt. You start building the life you were never allowed to have. You might picture the child you used to be, running through the yard at dusk, barefoot, laughing at the sky without any invisible weight on their shoulders. That picture feels strange at first. Then it feels like home. You stop looking for parents in your partners. You stop mistaking anxiety for wisdom. You stop running from the child you were and the self you're becoming. Because maturity wasn't the problem. The problem was that you had no choice. Now you do. You get to choose softness. You get to choose rest. You get to choose to stop carrying everyone else's emotions so you can finally carry your own. It won't be instant. There will be days you feel small again. Good. Let the child hum home. Let them cry. Let them play. Let them be seen. Let them laugh out loud in a room that no longer needs them to hold it together. Because you're not broken. You're becoming whole the way the child should have been. Slowly, honestly, and without apology. You never got the childhood you were owed, but you still get the rest of your life to live like someone who finally gets to grow up the right way. And this time, you write the ending. If this resonated with you, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. If you want to support these deep dives, join the channel so you can keep getting this kind of raw, unfiltered truth delivered straight to you. I really appreciate it.